Consider your mind as that canvas painting, open and available to a myriad of designs based on the eyes and mind of the onlooker, which is you. There will be many times in your life when your ideas and aspirations will seem to be splattered in all directions. But as you keep plowing ahead, you will slowly paint out the image of the person you aspire to become on the canvas of your life. Hello YouTubers, welcome again to another edition of Gustav be Achu. So for as long as humans have existed in organized communities, the role of the police has always been to maintain order, keep the peace, and ensure that society acts in particular ways in strict obedience to the law. I am sure you're wondering, Gustav, what does the police have to do with your video today? Trust me, just stay with me for the next few minutes and I'll be able to explain you why I'm talking about that, and also number one, be able to give you the reason why 8% of people achieve their goals, and why it's important that you don't make yourself become part of the 92% who fail to reach their goals in this life. And the third most important thing, why you must ferociously fight against your self-imposed mental place. So many people have these invisible mental forces that have managed to impose themselves in their minds, dictating how they should think and what to become, how to act, and what to really believe of themselves. This mental police could be the overwhelming and overpowering voice of your parents, who from birth have a clear plan of what you should do with your life. It can even be friends who insist incessantly on what you should not do and will never spare any effort and opportunity to tell you all the things that you cannot do and what is wrong about the endeavors that you love to pursue. Sometimes this mental police are self-imposed limitations through feelings of inadequacy, insecurity, and a lack of self-belief. It could be that insurmountable desire to be, have, or complete one final prerequisite before you engage on the journey of your life's purpose. I'm sure most of you listening to me are familiar with all these different reasons, because consciously or unconsciously sometimes we impose and give them to ourselves. That makes us feel good but might not solve problems, always remember. So it is very common to hear people lay a plethora of events that need to precede the kicking off of the pursuit of their purpose. Oh, if only I had a college degree, or was better looking or taller than I was, I would be great. Trust me, this is very human. You are not alone if sometimes you feel those feelings of inadequacy. There was a time in my life when I had many mental police paralyzing me to pursue my purposes. I can remember a glaring example is when my engagement on YouTube, which is a platform that really has helped me amplify my message and impacted a lot of lives, was being postponed. I have had an account for the last 9 years on YouTube, but never committed to just learning and building a structured platform. In my mind, I was never going to succeed because I have an accent. I'm a black man. I am an immigrant. I don't have enough experience to share. Blah, blah, blah. All those limiting thoughts kept coming. So you probably have heard about the imposter syndrome that hit me hard, holding me in a state of active paralysis as I kept feeding this mental police of self-limiting barriers and excuses. Needless to mention what that has cost me in terms of lost time, in terms of productivity, in terms of growth and impact over the last 9 years that I've been postponing this decision. Now it finally took me a period of personal decision. I'm able to silence these internal critics and get on with this dream. Now, is it going to be smooth? No, of course. Is it going to be a ride in the park? Of course not. Will it take sacrifice, hard work, and time to build what I'm born to build? Absolutely. Do I plan to listen to the mental police and quit? Never. So if you are new to the channel and find this content valuable, please don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you get to receive new content as soon as we publish. Remember, I will never send you WhatsApp or Telegram messages. Please be vigilant in the comment section for bad people who want to take advantage of your kind heart. Use your sense of good judgment and don't respond to anyone trying to invest money for you or invite you to join some sketchy associations. You have to be vigilant. So one of the things you need to understand is that you must understand that your mind is like a garden. James Allen, in his famed book, As a Man Thinketh, in fact, I recommend, if you haven't read that book, please find it and read it. As a Man Thinketh, he gives a deeper meaning to this philosophy of the mind as a garden. If you garden, you will better understand how weeds can easily take over the garden in a flicker of time, within the twinkle of an eye before you realize it. You need to understand weeds don't need any nurturing environment. They don't need no sunshine, they don't need rainfall or fertile soil to grow. They will persist and blossom no matter the circumstance. Weeds will even grow through cracks in the wall. They don't need any encouragement. However, if your goal is to garden some exotic flowers like orchids, like tulips, like rose flower, right? Then you must be intentional about the special processes and procedures to groom and secure these beautiful plants. Of course, you must cater to the soil and seed. You must make sure the plants are watered and taken care of every day. Your mind is no different from that garden. Your mind is the same like the garden because your mind needs nurturing every day. You don't need any additional effort or extra motivation to think negative, to be depressed, to be unhappy, to be frustrated, to beat yourself down and give up on your dreams. Yes, don't get me wrong, I understand difficult circumstances come in life, but you know the human mind is default setted to always want to go back to the side, right? So it is important to understand that your mind is in automatic divine settings. It will do that by itself. It will always try to be sad by itself. But if you want to enjoy a good, peaceful, and happy life, it takes a committed, focused effort to keep your mind on the positive side. Listen, you must commit to working on your daily life like exotic flowers. You must harness the will, the determination and willingness to say, despite this all, I am in control. I will keep fighting and I will stand up for my dreams, peace of mind and happiness. I am not saying this to impress you, but I want to impress upon you how important it is, because it will not be easy, and that is why not everyone is doing it. What is easy for most people is to make excuses, succumb to the default negative internal and external conversations, do the barest minimum to get along, bet on every other employer, work hard, age and die without ever taking a chance on yourself. How many of you listening to me know deep in your heart that you have a dream, you have a goal, but you are just not courageous enough to step out and take a chance on yourself? There are times you must even stand up to your negative thoughts, telling them to shut up and sit down. I remember a few years ago I was contracted to deliver a keynote speech and partner with an association of nurse anesthetists to raise money for their non-profit. Listen, I came in ready, confident, feeling on top of the world and ready to bring my A game to that event. Of course, it wasn't my first time having a keynote speech in front of 500 or more people, right? But when it came time to speak, I started hearing these small negative voices creeping up in my mind slowly and quietly. As the minutes went by, it got louder by the second. Gustav, these people are top educated and qualified professionals. Some of them are doctors in nursing practice. You don't have the necessary qualification. You don't know much about anesthesia and the sciences to speak intelligently to them. All these thoughts suddenly started pouring in. My mission wasn't to teach them about their craft. My mission was to get to their hearts so they could donate money to an association. And if I listen to these negative thoughts, I will start believing in the fact that I don't know all of those things. Meanwhile, the strength and the reason why they brought me in was to get them going. So I had to tell these paralyzing thoughts consciously to sit down and shut up. I had to remind myself on my why. I have goals and dreams. I have pressing issues I need to handle. My first daughter will be going to college soon. I have some credit card debts to pay. My mortgage is due. I am behind on my retirement and my dreams. Boy, I had to speak. I must stand up inside myself, and I had to speak for my life. So I had to tell that mental police. I had to tell those debilitating voices, shut up and sit down. So I had to make a conscious and determined deliberate effort to stand up inside of myself. Now you are who you are because of all your unique attributes. That is what makes you the only person who can live your purpose and realize the unique things destined for you. After all, you are a masterpiece, and no two masterpieces are the same. I was on a flight not too long ago from Austin, Texas to Washington, D.C., BWI. And I was sitting next to this gentleman on the flight, and I'll call him TJ. TJ was a very standout point guard in high school who went on to play college ball for a mid-tier college in the Midwest. When he talked about his credentials at that point, I was impressed by his high school and college exploits. While we were conversing, I quickly Googled him a little bit to see a little bit about his background, and this guy was one of the top players, at least in the mid-tier college. Based on his performance and his record, he stood a chance to play professional basketball in the NBA, or so I thought. When I asked him why he did not push through to make it to the NBA, he told me that he believed at 5 feet 5 inches, he was not tall enough, and that he had a very slim chance to making it professionally in the NBA. I was shocked by that, and I thought about how long TJ has been carrying in him this debilitating conviction that he's not tall enough, he's not capable enough to make it in the NBA. I mean, I won't sit here and pretend that he didn't have a height disadvantage. Of course, he had a height disadvantage, but not an impossibility. In fact, he was so sure of his limitations that he never even tried out for NBA open camps, which are usually held after to give an opportunity to undrafted players to get into the NBA. You know what? It immediately occurred to me why other players of similar height and even shorter like L. Boykins at 5 feet 5 inches and Tyron Brothers at 5 feet 3 inches had a rewarding 14 and 13-year career in the NBA respectively. These are people who are considered by any measure of the NBA standard incapable, short, and their height wouldn't permit them to be anything professional, but they beat the odds. It was clear to me that the difference between my friend TJ and these two cases was just a matter of the presence of a limiting mental police that sought to condition TJ to believe in a clearly defined structure and order of things. This significantly eliminated the thought in his mind of the possibility of ever playing in the NBA to seek fertile ground in TJ's mind. Imagine that his own spirit didn't believe in that possibility, so there was no fertile soil for that thought of the fact that he could play despite the fact that he was 5'5", to find refuge in his mind. TJ's mental police managed to convince him he cannot do it. How many of you listening to me right now are like my friend TJ? How many of you have different things that somebody has convinced you or some thought that you cannot do it? You must understand that when you are seeking and trying to walk in your purpose, trust me, there will be a lot of times when it seems disorderly, disorganized and blurry. There will be moments when the last thing you need to take that giant leap to the next level is any sort of strict, inflexible, orderly set of rules, regulations, norms, opinions, paths, or advice that you need to follow. As you might know, the darkest hours are those before dawn. If the picture does not look too clear right now, and your mind feels like an endless web of disconnected ideas, just keep at it. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you need a mental police to straighten your thoughts and convictions. Listen, of course, in life it's easier if you have a coach or a mentor, somebody who can help guide you. But a lot of the great decisions and progress you make in your life will come from your own deep conviction, from your own spirit, from you believing in that gift of yours and going after it ferociously. It's like a few years ago, I was visiting New York and I walked into this art gallery in Manhattan. You know, one of those beautiful exotic galleries in Manhattan, if you've ever been to Manhattan. I immediately had a hard time understanding some of the prize paintings on display. I looked at them in astonishment, as most did not make sense to me. The paintings looked like nothing I had ever seen. No matter how hard I tried to be positive and excited, I just could not make sense of some of them, as it looked like splashes of paint on a canvas done by a toddler in a playpen. I looked at them. I wondered to myself why people would pay so much for them. I looked at some of the price tags, $200,000. Some of them went up to $1 million. And I couldn't help myself no more. So I pulled the curator to the side and I asked him, Jim, what the paintings represented and how they could determine the 6- and 7-figure price tag and value for each of the paintings. This curator told me something that changed my life forever. He giggled, looked at me, shook my hand again and said, Mister, you're welcome. And he gave me a response that shocked me. He said the painting meant what the viewer chooses to see and make of it. I quickly realized that the idea behind the art is for the viewer to curate whatever image they desire to create in their mind. There was no limitation to the art as to what a guest must think of while looking at the painting. Consider your mind as that canvas painting, open and available to a myriad of designs based on the eyes and mind of the onlooker, which is you. There will be many times in your life when your ideas and aspirations will seem to be splattered in all directions. But as you keep plowing ahead, you will slowly paint out the image of the person you aspire to become on the canvas of your life. It is said that if it is clear from the beginning, then the dream is not big enough. Because big dreams are never clear. It becomes clear as you get forward. It's like you're driving on a foggy country road. You can't see too far ahead. You can only see the next clear point on the road as you get closer. So as you navigate through life, you must inevitably realize that generally, life is not fair. I'm sorry to tell you, you must your bubble. Or you may not end up having from life what you think you deserve. My mentor Les Brown, the great motivational speaker, says, you will not get in life what you deserve. You will get from life what you negotiate for. So in all of this, the one thing that is always constant is the fact that you bring about what you repeatedly believe, what you set your mind to. What is it you're negotiating for from life? What is it you're asking life for? What is it you're fighting for in this life? Nothing will be given to you on a platter of gold. Not even the things you believe you deserve, right? Because most of the time you end up reaping the outcome of what you're focused on. What you focus on grows. What you think about, you bring about. You must pay attention to your thoughts. Your thoughts will either be feeding your history or they'll be feeding your destiny. It cannot feed both at the same time. Just like a great baseball pitcher, Jose Lima, he was a 20-game winning pitcher for the Houston Astros of the baseball major leagues in the 80s. When the team moved to a new ballpark, something incredible and paralyzing happened on the first day. When Jose Lima walked up to the mound on his first game on the first day of play, he looked at the left field fence, which in this new arena was a little bit closer than in their former baseball park. And he said internally to himself, I can never pitch in this park. Guess what? With that powerful affirmation, he went from an above 20-game winner the previous season to a below 10 games winner in that season. He didn't suffer no major physical injury. Nothing changed about his diet. Nothing changed about his routines. What changed is that he told himself that he can never pitch successfully in this park. His subconscious accepted that as fact and his spirit adopted that as an instruction to execute. So his subconscious, of course, immediately accepted that affirmation to be true and acted upon it. Hence the abysmal performances that followed it. So my advice to you is, take some time and carefully think through your life. Think about your goals, your plans, and your aspirations. Who and what is that invisible barrier that stands in the way of you and your purpose? As you begin to work on eliminating those limiting and trying to pave a path to your destination, always remember the precious gem you are will always sparkle brightly when you refuse to walk away from your purpose. Stay in your lane, stumble along. If necessary, then make sure you are stumbling forward. I will leave you with this. I don't know you and may never get a chance to meet you in person. I don't know the circumstances of your birth and life up until this point when we are getting to meet by the blessing of social media. I cannot attest to the state of your mind and belief system at this moment. But what I can tell you without an iota of doubt in my mind and spirit, that whatever circumstance or person pushed you to believe that you are not able, capable, built to win in this life, this person or circumstance tricked you into believing in a lie because you are enough. So I urge you to be well, to be blessed, and never stop being a blessing to somebody. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, it's been Gustav, the Achu.